it's the Lawn Gnome, and welcome to May 2017's episode of Fandom Feature. Of course, if you're new, welcome. This is one of my newest segments where I officially start to fanboy and gush over some of the greatest films of all time, and that's also because of the fact that some of the greatest films of all time, or at least I'd like to say, a good portion of them reside back here on my bookshelves. And today is a very special one because I am going to be tackling the very first film franchise, merely because of the fact that we have to prepare for the newest installment this summer. And that, of course, is the Jerry Bruckheimer-produced series from Disney. A series that I never would have anticipated was going to be as successful as it was, because how can you possibly make a successful film franchise based off of a Disney theme park ride? Have you guessed which one we're talking about? We're talking about the films from the Pirates of the Caribbean. And this is a barrage of fun, exciting adventures starring Johnny Depp, Jeffrey Rush, Orlando Bloom, Bill Nighy, Keira Knightley, Penelope Cruz, Ian McShane, Chow Yun-fat, and even, for a small portion of the film, Keith Richards, not to mention Jonathan Pryce from Game of Thrones, since you all know who he is now thanks to Game of Thrones. But this movie, when it first came out, we're talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. When the first one came out in 2003, I never would have expected this movie to be any good. But as I saw the trailers, and I took a look at the gravitas, and the special effects, and the epicness, and all the effort that was being put into this brand new adventure film, I got extremely intrigued. And when I went to see this movie, not only did I have such an amazing experience, but I never knew that I could laugh as hard as I did. Because Johnny Depp gave us his very first truly mainstream role. Now, granted, he's been in very well-known films in the past, but this was one of the first big-budget films that he was officially a part of as Captain Jack Sparrow. If you love Johnny Depp in these films, I always say that Jeffrey Rush is so much better as Hector Barbossa. These two just do it so well together, and Johnny Depp just makes me laugh with his portrayal of Captain Jack Sparrow. Everyone else in this film had their part to play. Orlando Bloom as Will Turner, I absolutely loved him. Elizabeth Swann, played by Keira Knightley, who at the time was still coming into the film world, trying to get her name out there. This movie launched her into stardom. And if you actually want to hear a very interesting fun fact, there's also a very young and very unknown Zoe Saldana in the first film, and she played Anna Maria. The special effects are absolutely mind-blowing, especially in the first film when you take a look at the cursed crew of the Black Pearl, when they turn into skeletons in the moonlight with the digital work that was used. It's so well done, and of course there were even some interesting plot twists thrown in towards the end of the film. And when I was done with that one, I was really happy with it, but I never would have imagined that there was going to be more. So then we got, in 2005, followed closely in 2006, we got the two sequels, which were also directed by the same director, Gore Verbinski, and he gave us Dead Man's Chest, followed closely by At World's End. And we got some new actors portraying new characters, such as Davy Jones being played by Bill Nighy. We also had a very unknown Naomi Harris playing Tia Dorma, who ends up playing a much bigger role in the conclusion of this chapter. And then we also had Chow Yun-fat in the third film, playing the infamous Singapore pirate Sao Feng. But I will say that when we got into these two films, particularly with Dead Man's Chest, don't get me wrong, I loved the lore, I had fun with the movie, it was so much more bigger and grander and more epic, but the plot got a little confusing. And for most people, they found this movie to really not move the plot anywhere. And to a certain extent, I can totally understand where they're going, because after seeing it recently, as fun as it is, it really doesn't add so much to the story. Now, when you get to At World's End, you get a little bit more, and you also get a couple of things that are referenced from the very first movie, so everything gets tied up very nicely. When I saw At World's End again, I really did like it a lot more than I thought that I would. And when I saw that trilogy as a whole, I was very, very satisfied and said to myself, yes, these are movies so worthy of being in my collection because I have seen them numerous times, and I was very glad that I picked them up again. I never would have expected a fourth film to even be in the works, because Gore Verbinski had left, and then we had Rob Marshall directing the fourth film, which is called On Stranger Tides, which does continue on the story from At World's End, because it ends with Jack Sparrow looking looking for the Fountain of Youth, so then they took that story and they really decided to capitalize on that one. We had Penelope Cruz and Ian McShane added to the cast, as well as the late Richard Griffiths playing King George, and I will say, because I'm quite certain that I gave this film a very high rating, as it was one of the first films that I ever reviewed on my channel. I'm curious to see what I actually gave it then.
So the verdict is I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 4. I did enjoy it. I would definitely suggest if you want to have just a good time at the theaters, go on and see it.
I still agree. Just because of the fact that it just continues on with the fun and the adventure of the first 3 films, but the thing that I really liked about On Stranger Tides was that it condensed it a little bit. It made it easier to follow, not such a crazy complex plot, and I just had so much fun with it, especially in the beginning of the film when Jack Sparrow comes face to face with King George. These movies are so much fun. Disney really did so much more than I anticipated with this film franchise, and I am really excited to see and review Dead Men Tell No Tales for you guys, and I'm quite certain that there is a 6th film in the works, because they did plan on turning this new group of films into a trilogy, but will there be more Pirates films after that? Personally, I would say please don't, because you've already given us more than enough than we can handle, and we're thankful for that. But as of now, these 4 Pirates of the Caribbean films, awaiting and welcoming the 5th installment starring Javier Bardem, who's been added to the crew. Really looking forward to that. I think that these are very much films that are worthy of seeing, worthy of owning, and worthy of seeing multiple times. Thank you very much for watching my newest episode of Fandom Feature today. I would love to see your comments in the box below. I'd love to talk about the Pirates films with you. I'd like to see which ones are your favorites. Do you like them or do you not like them at all? But either way, I will see you guys in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.